The Lambda function style programming and event-driven architectures are not new. With microservice applications, we have been using messaging, which was event-driven and asynchronous to integrate different microservice applications. AWS Lambda does the same for various serverless components. Just to remind you, a serverless component is any component that we don't have to worry about managing, including the reliability, scalability, etc. Since a Lambda function can be triggered by events happening in these serverless components, and also a Lambda function can use any of these serverless components, the combination of use cases that can come out of this are many. But I'm going to present you a few important use cases, starting with using Lambda to create your RESTful backends. So your applications can be deployed on EC2 instances, Elastic Beanstalk, or a static application on S3. And these applications can make calls to the API gateway component in AWS, which will trigger your Lambda, which is responsible for communicating with a database like DynamoDB and fetch the data or save the data to the DynamoDB. So using Lambdas, you can create a RESTful backend for your web applications. You can create a complete web application using Lambdas, but that is not a typical use case for functional programming and nano services. We still host our web applications itself separately, and then Lambdas can take care of RESTful APIs and act as a RESTful backend. The next use case is data processing. The event itself or the data itself can come from a Kinesis stream, DynamoDB stream, or any other stream. Lambdas are perfect to convert your batch jobs, if you have them in your projects, to Lambda functions. Thanks to Lambda service, it can scale and create as many number of Lambda instances as required on the fly, depending on the data and the load. Next, we can also use Lambda to host logic for chatbots or Alexa skills. If you have used Alexa speaker from Amazon, then whenever you are talking to the Alexa speaker using voice commands, it is making backend calls to Lambda functions that are hosted in the cloud by AWS. And those Lambda functions are hosting the logic, which is sending the response back. They are the brain behind Alexa and any chatbot applications. Last but not the least, you can use Lambdas to manage your infrastructure, especially when you're using CloudFormation from AWS to create the entire infrastructure that is required. You can configure Lambda functions in such a way that they will be triggered by CloudWatch logs. When something happens to your infrastructure, it can be known through the CloudWatch logs, alarms, etc. And your Lambda function can react to that and make sure your infrastructure is intact. So if a server goes down, for example, a Lambda function can bring another server up so that your clients will not be unhappy. And if a particular resource is deleted through CloudFormation, a Lambda can react to that and do the cleanup work or anything else that has to do with infrastructure. So these are some of the popular use cases. Now you can think of any number of use cases, as I said, and in the next few sections, you are going to work on a synchronous use case where you will be developing serverless API, and also a synchronous use case where you will see how a Lambda can be triggered when we upload data to an S3 bucket, and how we can publish events to SNS, and how that will trigger Lambda functions in turn as well.